Now, I've played video games my whole life, but I've kind of recently realized that I'm not actually a gamer. I've pretty much just played like the yearly FPS game and Minecraft. So I decided to go back 40 years and play the highest selling game of each year just to see what I've been missing out on. Also, I'll be sorting the games into a tier list, but seeing as how these games can't be that bad, the tier list is only gonna go down to C. Now, when I started filming this video, I knew I wanted to do it right. And by right, I mean stupid. I decided I was gonna do all these games on original hardware. As of now, having already done this was very stupid. It was such a hassle getting these old games to work, and it was so expensive. I bought a VCR. That's how hard I went. Space Invaders is a game about aliens invading your space. Space Invaders is fun. It's hard, and the game is a lot more unforgiving than I remember on the old arcades. I played it for a bit. I made it to round 4 one time, which I was pretty hype about. I mean, but there's not much to it. You're a ship and you shoot aliens, and the aliens are very fast, so C tier. Pac-Man is a game about a hungry blob. Now, most of you guys are probably like me. When you think Pac-Man, you think this. But I guess like Atari messed up the port for the game when it came over, and it ended up looking like this. I mean, what the hell is this, man? The dots aren't even dots. They are lines. The sounds are annoying. I mean, listen to this sound. The controller is still pathetic. I can't get over it. This game is way worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have fun. It says Pac-Man on the cartridge. That's not Pac-Man, though. I played for a bit, but I mean, I mostly just got frustrated because I'm still playing on a VCR with a 100-year-old controller that wouldn't turn the right way. I mean, eventually I got 1,000 points, so there's that. C tier. Miss Pac-Man is a better game with a better blob. I mean, now we're getting somewhere. Miss Pac-Man kind of got her shit together. The controls were significantly better. I don't know why, it just felt better. There was actually a bit of sound design in this game as well. We have a little jingle at the beginning of each stage, and the eating sound also sounds so much better. There's new layouts of the map after you advance through the game, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. There are cherries and there are end credits. I mean, they really just made everything a little bit better. It feels like we're kind of starting to get somewhere. B tier. Pole Position is the first ever game about racing. Okay, it's probably not the first ever game, but damn, does it look like the first game ever made. I thought it was a pretty good idea for such an old game. There are little obstacles on the road that you have to pass, but then the obstacles started moving, and I realized that those are other cars.
Hello there.
Once you rack up some speed, the cars like perfectly cut you off, and I was still trying to get around them with my little stick controller, and actually started getting a little tilted. I really appreciate the design, and it's super impressive to make a 3D car game on a 2D system, but I mean, this game drove me crazy. C tier. Pitfall is a game about cave diving. So I bought 2 copies of Pitfall for $50 each. Neither one of them worked. So this is one of the very rare moments that I use an emulator for this video. And it turns out you can literally just Google any Atari game, click a website, and play it on the desktop. I'm trying not to think about how much money I could have saved on this video, so, I mean, regardless, Pitfall's pretty fun. There's music playing the entire time, and it's kind of a banger. Oh my god. What? It's also the first game on the list with checkpoints. I mean, this game damn well might have invented checkpoints. All of the mobs in the caves have different behavior patterns that you have to work around, and the cave system is pretty damn complex. All I know is that I had a pretty good time, and I think it's the first game on this list that I actually enjoyed playing, so I'm a big Pitfall guy now. A tier. Super Mario is a game about a plumber. Now, of course, I've played Mario before, but I've never, played it. It's the classic Mario movement. I think this is the first game on the list that felt like an actual video game. The music is incredible. The gameplay is Mario. You go to the right, you make it to the flag before the time runs out or before you lose 3 lives. The jump from Pitfall to Mario is pretty wild, come to think of it. The mobs all have unique behaviors. There are power-ups, and I didn't realize this, but in the first Mario, you have to run around Bowser and drop him into the lava instead of trying to defeat him head on. So that was pretty interesting, and I definitely learned that the hard way. From what I can tell, you get 3 lives, and that's it. Good luck, little plumber. Make it as far as you can. I played for an hour and got pretty good at the first world, but I kept choking the final fight on the second world, and I choked twice and then I just raged off. But overall, good game. We'll go with A tier. Zelda is a game about a boy with a sword. Now, I never had Nintendo systems growing up. I had a Game Boy, but that was pretty much just a Pokemon player, and my first console was an Xbox original. What I'm trying to say is I've never played a Zelda before. It's kind of embarrassing. And I gotta say, this was a bad start. The idea of what Zelda would eventually become is there. There are shops, bombs, swords, dungeons, and mobs that have all different behaviors. Also, I think it's kind of funny that when Link gets a new item, he still does the turn around and hold it in the air thing that he does in future games. All that being said, I can confidently say that I will never play this game ever again. The execution just doesn't do it for me. The puzzles are less of puzzles and more of hidden secrets that you have to find by button mashing, or I'm assuming by following a strategy guide that was sold at the time of the game. There are also sections of the game where the mobs are unbearable. I mean, look how many mobs are on the screen right now. I'm glad Zelda eventually became the powerhouse franchise that it did, but it was a rough first go at it, if I'm being honest. C tier. Duck Hunt is a game where you hunt ducks. Now, the Duck Hunt and Mario Bros. Package that was sold for the NES is actually the first time on this list that a game was the highest selling game for 2 years straight. And that only happened twice in this entire video. I actually did a little research on how it even works because I was thinking, like, how the hell was there VR technology in 1988? It's really interesting. It turns out when you pull the trigger on the Atari controller, the screen goes completely black for half a second in all but one spot on the screen. There's a little light sensor in the controller, and if that light sensor sees the white square, then you get a hit. I feel like that's mad impressive technology for 35 years ago. That being said, screens nowadays have somewhat outgrown the zapper gun sensors, and it's damn near impossible to get it to register on the LCD screens that we have now. So I still had fun with it, but I'm just kind of taking the gun and just hoping that it gets a hit. For a game about murdering ducks, it sure does make you smile. The dog is adorable and the graphics are really clean. I don't know. I get the hype. I don't know. I'm sad I couldn't play it, but I do understand it. We'll still put it at A tier. Super Mario 3 is a game about a flying plumber. So this game is everything we had played in the Mario game before, but better. The graphics, the controls, the gameplay. There's an actual story now and a world map in between levels, which I thought was really nice. There are power-ups and mobs that are on the storyboard, which felt like little mini games within the game. I was blown away by the difference in this game compared to everything else that I'd played so far. It was more forgiving of a game as well, which made it less frustrating since you didn't have to start all the way over every time you ran out of lives. It's the first time I played a game on this list that I knew as soon as I was done playing, I had barely even scratched the surface of what this game had to offer. I'm not much of a Nintendo guy, but I'm assuming this has to be one of the best Mario games ever made, right? I'll put it at S tier, the first S tier game. Sonic is a game about a hyperactive hedgehog. This game is fast. I mean, like super fast. I think I lost my mind playing this game. I was going through shit at the time, but I really lost it. Mario felt methodical. You jump on the right spot, you get your little power up, you move throughout the map, and then you jump on the flag. This game felt like chaos. It doesn't make any sense. I've played Sonic a few times, like at friends' house and stuff, and I've never really liked it, so I thought maybe that would change. It didn't. I felt like I was on drugs. you run, you pick up rings, you fly, you get in a little ball, you jump, you hit something, all the rings fly out. Oh shit, what do I do now? I'll pick the rings back up and then I can fly some more. The game is crazy. It's insane. I eventually found out how to get to Jim Carrey, and he beats me a few times before I finally make my way back to him and I take him out. This game is just too fast, man. I can't keep up. I'll go with C tier. Sonic 2 is a game about Sonic and another hyperactive fox. It's the same thing, but with tails, there's a continue, and the boss is easier. So B tier. Mortal Kombat is a game about fighting until someone finishes. I mean, the music is great. Already the music is great. The controls of this game are terrible. I'm actually convinced that my controller wasn't working. Or maybe my controller wasn't being read right, because backwards on the D-pad was high punch. That can't be right. Eventually I figured out some cheese that could help me get fighting at all, and I actually had some fun with it. I've been playing side scrollers for 3 years straight, and I love fighting games, so I didn't want to just rush through it, and I wouldn't let the controls bring me down. I made it pretty deep in the fight card before trying to fight 2 people at once, and it was just too much for my poor little Sub-Zero. Mortal Kombat has withstood the test of time, and that's really impressive. They debuted a cast of characters all the way back in 1993 that are still being used today. And that's pretty sweet. B tier. Donkey Kong Country is about a monkey and his nephew. This game is the only game on the SNES on the entire list, and I gotta say, the Super Nintendo is batting 1,000 for me. This game slaps. Donkey Kong and Diddy switch off, which gives you kind of a buffer if you get hit, but also they have different movement behaviors. There's also secret rooms in the game, and of course, a ton of collectibles all over the place. There's a world map, and there's lore. I mean, I rode a rhino, a marlin, and a frog. It's just really smooth. It really, truly felt great. The game is also 2-player, which I think is really cool. To me, it seems like this game improves on the Nintendo side-scroller without using plumbers. A tier. Mario 64 is a game about a plumber in the 3rd dimension. The extent of my time playing this game was on the demo version at Kmart. All right, that might date me a little bit. The leap in gaming experience is crazy. I can't imagine how hooked people were on this game the day it came out. The idea is pretty simple. The more stars you collect, the closer you get to saving the princess. I got my first star from the bomb boss. The controls definitely take some getting used to, but I mean, it's still very impressive for the first 3D game on the entire list. I beat the bomb boss, the concrete boss, I did 2 downhill races, and I think I solved a puzzle on the first try by accident. Almost everything in this game ages well, except maybe the camera. The camera and the controls are kind of funky, but I mean, it's still so impressive. I can understand why people are still playing this game 30 years later. A tier. Mario Kart is a game about attacking go-karts with items disguised as racing. Obviously, everyone's played Mario Kart, and I am no exception. As a kid, I never owned an N64, but plenty of my friends did. And Mario Kart is probably the most popular couch game of all time. I didn't realize there's no story or anything to this game. You boot up the game, and it's straight into circuits. I played the mushroom circuit at 100cc as Luigi and got right back into it. I even had a big old clutch with a red shell on this 3rd race. And then I won the circuit. I'm a legend. The sound design in this game is great and has aged super well. I mean, think of all the iconic sounds in this game. The sound when you end the race. The sound when you grab the item scroller thing. The beginning. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, there's so many iconic sounds. I played the Flower Cup at 150cc as Mario, and wow, it is fast. I ended 2nd in that one. I did the 50cc Star Cup with Donkey Kong, and I won it with relative ease, but it was painfully slow. Then I played the Special Cup at 150cc as Peach, the most difficult circuit on the most difficult setting. I actually won the first race, somehow got third the second race, even though I couldn't see the placings, and then came Banshee's Boardwalk. I can't see. Yo, fuck Banshee's Boardwalk. I hate that place. I hate it. Mario Kart is a legendary game, and this is the Mario Kart that I remember the most. I'm not too sure how well it holds up though, especially on this list. So we'll say B tier. Ocarina of Time is a way better game about a boy with a sword. Again, I've never played a Zelda, but I've heard this one's amazing. So here we go. I spawned in with a first-person view from a ferry, and I just started my journey. I ran around a little starting area, and apparently a big tree wanted to talk to me, but I needed to get my sword and shield first. I mean, right away, I could tell this game was great. I was really impressed with the jump to Mario 64, but this game was even better than that. There's a lot of fun dialogue, and eventually I worked my way to find my sword that I needed to move on in the story. I walked up to this big tree, entered his mouth, and just like that, I was in my first dungeon. I got a slingshot, a stun, I set sticks on fire, I solved puzzles, I parried throwables, and then I beat a huge spider boss. And that's all in the first section of the game. The controls are great, and the combat is incredible. I saw Ganon ride off on horseback and finally learned what the Triforce is. Now I know I barely scratched the surface of this game, but even nowadays, I'm just like bewildered how good the game is. I think in order to be a gamer, I gotta finish this game one of these days. S tier. Donkey Kong 64 is a rap song that has a game attached to it. First of all, I had to buy another piece of hardware for my N64 to even work this game. So there goes more money out the window. I listened to the entirety of the DK intro rap song. The whole thing.
Here we go. Performance for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you want to clap.
It's actually kind of impressive how long the song goes on. The game was interesting. It would make sense to do another 3D platformer if you're Nintendo, especially after the hype of Mario and Zelda. But I feel like they went a weird direction with this one. The movement is strange and the voice acting is so goofy. Like, it's very goofy. Just listen to DK as he kicks forward. The controls were also a lot rougher than the previous games that I played. There's a mechanic built into the game where you have to switch between like 6 different Kongs, and each of those Kongs have their own collectibles, which I think is kind of tiring. It's hard not to compare whenever I just played Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, which really doesn't do the game any favors. Donkey Kong Country was sick, but I'm not really sure about the 3D version. That being said, Donkey Kong music never fails, so B tier. Pokemon is a game where you kidnap animals and make them fight. Now, this is the first game on the list that I had actually put any sort of time into. Pokemon was my introduction to video games, so there was really nothing new to learn about this. I spawned in, named myself Mike. I picked up a Cyndaquil, named him Marshall. I got lost trying to find Mr. Pokemon, but eventually I got to him. I met my rival and I named him Tom. I got some Pokeballs. I caught a Pidgey and I named him Kurt, a Weedle named him Tori, a Bellsprout named him London, a Geodude named Orlando, and a Zubat named Dre. I traveled over to the gym and I don't want to brag, but I beat Faulkner first try. Pokemon is amazing. It's a game that means so much to me, and Gen 2 is probably my favorite gen, so I'm a little biased. A tier. Okay, so something changes as we hit 2001. From this moment on, the top sales are pretty much dominated by sports games, Call of Duty, and Halo. So in order not to make this video a ton of slant routes and gunfights, I decided to pick one of the games from the top 5 from this moment on. But that being said, I will play one Call of Duty, one Madden, and one Halo. And this is the first Madden, so it only makes sense. Madden is a game about football. I'm not a huge sports game guy. I mean, I enjoyed the Street series and I like college football, but overall the vibe of sports games just don't really click with me. The intro rap for this game is hilarious though. I mean, wow, what a banger. But I mean, that damn well might be the only good part of the whole game. Maybe out there in the world, there's a group of people that will defend the 2002 version of Madden. So I guess I just hope they don't see this video. The controls sucked. The AI was awful. The graphics were terrible. I was always an NFL fever kid. Rip John Madden though. C tier. Vice City is a game about stealing cars in Miami. I bought 3 copies of this game before I found one that worked. Like I said, don't try this at home. The intro is a vibe though. Just like Zelda, I'm pretty embarrassed to say that as of filming this series, I had never really played a Grand Theft Auto game, like any Grand Theft Auto game. I told you guys, I'm a fake gamer. The difference in this game compared to all of the other games on the list so far is unreal. There's a story that kind of plays out like a movie. I'm working for a mob boss, and the drug deal that I was involved in gets busted, so now I owe money and drugs to my boss. The cutscenes are super short, but I think it's the only time that we've gotten cutscenes with dialogue so far, so it's pretty impressive. I go to a yacht party to see who set us up and end up taking the boss's daughter to a strip club somehow. One cool thing about this game is when you die, you go to a hospital, and then you get let out of the hospital. There's a taxi cab waiting on you. You take the taxi cab to the last mission. I beat a chef, I stole his phone, I bullied some jury members, I accidentally got a 3-star somehow and tried running from the cops, and then I did a mission where I destroyed some trucks. I know it's not the first ever Grand Theft Auto, but from what I can tell, I think this one really set the foundation for what Grand Theft Auto has eventually become. I'm gonna go with B tier. Need for Speed is a game about what Fast and the Furious pretends to be. We are now finally on the second game in the list that I actually have multiple hours in. The intro sequence brought me so much nostalgia. I remember getting so hyped back in the day whenever I saw the little NOS canister. I was actually really worried that this game wouldn't hold up to my childhood memories that I have attached to it. But then I heard Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and I knew everything was gonna be all right. I started customizing a car before I even hit the track. I remember spending hours upon hours just in the garage, layering my car, putting on rims and lights and spoilers, and then comparing everything with my friends. I loaded up the campaign where you can compete in different events for money that eventually goes towards your car and your upgrades. I did a drag race, a circuit, a drift race, and also a knockout style race. My car eventually got on the cover spot of a magazine, and all along the way, I'm customizing my ride. Eventually, I competed in and won a tournament. The driving mechanics are great. The soundtrack is top notch. The customization is wonderful. The game is so amazing, and I am so glad that it holds up. A tier. San Andreas is a game about stealing cars in LA. The intro to this game felt like a movie. Like it's hard to believe we're still on the original Xbox. My character flies into Los Santos to attend my mom's funeral, only to get picked up by the cops, and for some reason, they drop me off in the middle of the hood. Oh, and then the meme happens.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I hop on a bike and immediately the controls feel great. I find out that someone actually murdered my mom, so that sucks. And then I went to my friend Big Smoke's house, and then we go to visit the grave in the cemetery, and a bunch of my friends are there and they are pissed. Apparently they didn't want me to leave Los Santos in the first place. Then I die in a drive-by. But then I come back and I go to the barbershop. Then the pizza guy starts shooting at me with a shotgun. I graffiti a little bit. I run from the cops a little bit. I kill a guy with spray paint because I forgot that there's a black and white button that exists on the Xbox controller, and that's how you change weapons. The cops just stop chasing you in this game whenever you start a mission. I think that's pretty funny. The cutscenes in this game are still really fast, like in comparison to Vice City, but they're very well written and they're super funny. Grand Theft Auto truly is in a league of its own. We're gonna go with A tier. Battlefront is a game where you get to experience Stormtrooper aim firsthand. Hey, I'm back to being biased. That is right. I put hours into this game. Days even. I remember my parents getting mad at me because I would bring my Xbox on vacation just to play this game. Just to load up Death Star, one flag, capture the flag. The scale is something that I had never experienced in a Star Wars game before. This game feels like you're an actual soldier in the latter stages of the Clone Wars. It has a pretty good story that is often overlooked because the couch game experience was just that fun. The flying mechanics are actually pretty awesome too, even though at the time I remember skipping all the flying missions as a kid. I was a more boots on the ground kind of guy. I completed 3 of the missions, I played as Yoda, I slayed out a bunch of bugs. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most influential Star Wars games of all time. We'll go with B tier. Guitar Hero is a game where you play a fake guitar. I'm sure the judgments have already been passed around about me saying I've never played a Zelda, never played a Grand Theft Auto. Well, surprise, never played a Guitar Hero either. I was one of those obnoxious kids growing up that made fun of Guitar Hero because I could play Smoke on the Water on a real guitar. But I must say, my behavior has changed. I picked Pandora, and I picked a Les Paul, and I started my journey. I played a high school gig, then I went to Boston to perform, and then I went to Providence. I was playing on medium, and I feel like I was starting to get the hang of it. I got a little cocky towards the end and wanted to play Carry On My Wayward Son on hard. And since trying this game for this recording, I've somewhat become obsessed with Guitar Hero. I mean, I've been playing Guitar Hero 2 and 3 consistently for about like a month now. And I'm finally understanding the infatuation with what everyone else was experiencing 20 years ago. I mean, this is an incredible game. A tier. Halo is a game where the story is confusing, but the aliens still must die. Like I said, I've been playing all of these games on original hardware up to this point, but seeing as how Xbox 360 took down the Halo 3 servers a while ago, I decided to load up MCC and crank my settings down just to keep up with the immersion. I started with the campaign. The game starts with Master Chief crash landing in the jungle, but then wakes up and runs and guns through the woods, taking down an alien army called the Covenant. The human army that's on my team is really struggling, so I'm basically John Wick and Superman combined. The music is also what separates Halo from the rest. You feel unstoppable with that symphony in your ears. After a few missions, I had a blast, but I decided I would switch over to multiplayer, which is where me and my friends really spent a majority of our time. One of my best friends actually won a national championship on this game back in 2009, and speaking of him, I'm trying to pass him in YouTube subscribers so I can point and laugh at him how a normal friend would. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that would mean a lot. I mean, there were competitive matches. There's Forge where you can customize damn near anything. There's a theater mode. I mean, the game was so ahead of its time. The feeling of hitting a sniper headshot in Halo is one of the best feelings of all time. And this is probably the best Halo of all time. So, S tier. Wii Play is a game where you play on the Wii. Now, I've owned a Wii before, but I only used it to play Smash Brothers. I mean, I had a Wii remote, but all I ever did with it was click, play, brawl. That's all I ever did. I think I've played Wii Sports and a few of the standard Wii games that come with the console at friends' houses growing up, so I think that's what I was expecting. It is not what I ended up getting, though. Wii Play is simply not fun. Me will not be playing Wii Play again. Why did I write that? The controls are just awful. I've never been a fan of like movement style games. I've never used my Xbox Kinect. I never really played Wii. I didn't play Duck Hunt. I've always been more of a controller in the hand, stare at the screen kind of guy. I tried ping pong and got pissed because the paddle wouldn't stay still. And then I tried an air hockey game that I was adamant about beating before I turned the console off forever. The thought is there, but that's going to be a pass from me, dog, on Wii Play. So, C tier. Wii Sports Resort is a game where you go on vacation. Coming off a Wii Play, I had a salty taste in my mouth, which immediately got worse when I loaded up the game and I wasn't able to play it because I didn't have the right attachment for my Wii remote controller. I even got this like creepy informational video that played. It reminded me a lot of like the CRT info videos that played in Lost when they go down into the bunker. They're very creepy. I had to buy the Motion Plus for the Wii remote, which was annoying, but eventually it came in a few days later and I finally was able to play. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. Every negative thing I've been saying about the Wii since Wii Play has all gone out the window. I don't know what it is about the Motion Plus, but it makes everything infinitely better. The games are like actually playable now and they are very fun. I kind of got obsessed with bowling for a little bit. I bowled and then I unlocked an alternative bowling game where there are 100 pins. Then I unlocked another alternative game where you have to avoid obstacles on the lane. So that's 2 unlockable mini games for just one of the games on the title. I feel like that's extremely impressive. Obviously bowling was awesome, but I was also able to knock down some 3-pointers as well as play ping pong again, which was so much better. Wii Sports Resort is incredible. Me will be playing Wii Sports Resort again. S tier. Call of Duty is a game with a complicated history. So I chose this particular Call of Duty simply because of how many records it broke. I mean, it sold 31 million copies. That is insane. I loaded up zombies for the first time ever. I hadn't really gotten into zombies up until recently, so I was kind of excited to see where it all started. I know zombies creators talk very highly of this particular game. I spawned in and immediately saw the Kanye t-shirt symbols and started running around. These zombies are a lot harder than they are nowadays. The guns feel like they do like no damage. I tried to run twice before eventually getting to round 7 and cutting the power on. I mean, it was tough, but I can imagine it would be a lot of fun with a group of people. Next, I hopped into the campaign. The main menu of the entire game is basically integrated into the first mission, which is just awesome. That's just the soul that Call of Duty used to have. My name is Mason. I killed a dude named Castro, but it wasn't Castro. I played through a couple missions, which is the standard Call of Duty campaign quality. It's really fun, run and gun, and a story that is simple enough to keep up with. Then I met a guy in jail named Reznov, which I'm sure he's a real guy. Emphasis on real. Now it's time to load up into multiplayer, which is where all of my time went into the game in the first place. I played a few games and got a pretty decent game on Grid. I do believe that this game has a top 3 soundtrack in any Call of Duty game ever. The maps are awesome, zombies is great, the campaign is great, there are mini games, wager matches, and more. It's basically 3 entire games grouped into one. This is one of the very, very few times you'll hear me praise Black Ops 1, but I'm a COD kid, so I gotta defend it. A tier. Skyrim is a game about stealing and dragons. I loaded up Skyrim and somehow I had an Xbox save file from 11 years ago. I remember almost nothing about it. I don't even remember playing Skyrim. It loads up and I get the most iconic starting screen possibly in video game history. I made my character, watch a dude's head get cut off, and then I go to get my head cut off, but spoiler alert, there's a dragon that attacks the city and I survive. I run from the dragon, fight my way through a cave, kill some spiders, sneak by a bear, I see some magic, and then all of a sudden, I'm in Skyrun. Now, the only POI I actually remember from Skyrun is a town called Whiterun, so I completely skip whatever I was supposed to do and just beeline it straight there. Now, I'm on Xbox 360, which is unfortunately extremely outdated at this point, but that being said, the immediate understanding of the scale of Skyrim is mind-blowing. Everywhere you look, it seems like you can go. You can climb mountains, you can walk in the river, you can explore caves. I run into a group of people that are fighting this big giant, and it turns out they were a gang called the Companions, led by Ayla the Huntress. Now, I don't know anything about this game, but I can imagine I would do absolutely anything this woman tells me to do, so whew. I head into Whiterun and immediately get to work as a blacksmith. And then I see a weapon called the Steel Warhammer, but it's way too expensive. I go to a pub to find work, but they send me to the inn. So then I go to the inn and I finally get a bounty job, so I head out that way. I get to where I'm supposed to be and I get smoked by the first attempt. But the second attempt, I get the job done. I collect my bounty, sell a bunch of my stuff, and then I buy the Steel Warhammer. Time flew by playing this game. And it makes sense why people are still playing it to this day. S tier. Assassin's Creed is a game where you hang out with Benjamin Franklin. The first thing I noticed about this game was the UI. I mean, it was so clean. I start up the game and have absolutely no clue what is going on in the story. From what I've gathered, I'm basically a time-traveling pirate assassin. The tutorial looks cool, but it's not very immersive. You're in like a simulation or a computer program type thing or something, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's the 1860s and you're in a theater. I was lost. I sit down to watch the play, but then I end up talking to a guy, and then I realize that I gotta kill a dude. So I sneak over to him by scaling the walls in front of everyone, and then climbing everything behind the stage, and then kill the guy using the Force? What the hell is going on? I then escape the theater and hop on a pirate ship, and while I'm on the pirate ship sailing, I do a bunch of tasks. And then after doing all those tasks, the intro screen finally plays. And I gotta say, the intro screen is pretty sick. I go into town, I meet Ben Franklin. I had to kill some guys with gunpowder and swords. It was okay. I'm sure this was a great game to rent from Blockbuster and play with your boys at night during a sleepover, but it is rough to go from Skyrim to Assassin's Creed 3. I'll put it at C tier. GTA 5 is a game about stealing cars in California. Now, I'm still on the Xbox 360 at this point, so I'm playing GTA 5 on that console, and this game literally came with 2 discs. I didn't even realize that technology was available on the 360. Like, were there other games that did that? The intro is actually unbelievable. It's stunning. And of course, it's action-packed. I robbed a bank, killed about 30 cops, got involved in a high-speed chase, and then somehow got away. I ran into the mist. This is likely the best introduction of any game in history. I mean, at least it is on this list. I can't even imagine being from the Los Angeles area when this game came out. It is eerily similar to real life, and it still looks incredible even on the Xbox 360. Fast forward a few years, and now I'm a completely different person that's seemingly trying to steal some cars in broad daylight in Santa Monica. The driving mechanics are incredible. It rivals any driving experience I've ever had in a video game. I got to check out the city once the open world unlocked. I went downtown, I went to the beach, and then I went to the club. I went to repo some more cars and then somehow ended up in a gang war. This game feels like a movie, but not a movie where you're watching the characters, a movie where you're controlling the characters. And still somehow you don't have to follow the plot of the movie if you don't want to. You could just do whatever you want with the characters. It's insane. The immersion is incredible. Obviously, I knew this game was going to be amazing because everyone talks about it. It's one of the best games ever made. And I completely understand now how you can just get lost in the universe. I mean, I have to finish this game one day, right? I have to. We're going to go with S tier, obviously. Minecraft is a game where you break stuff and make stuff. Now, I've played a lot of Minecraft, like a lot of Minecraft. So for this section, I actually played the update that came out in 2014. So it was a different version of Minecraft than I'd ever played before. There's no offhand at all, and there's no shield either. So I ran around to get my bearings, and eventually I found a lava pool pretty early. So I thought, why the hell not? Let's go to the Nether. I strip mined and I made a bucket to get some armor. I tried to remember how to make a Nether portal with just water, and then I went to the Nether and I spawned right next to the fortress. Now I'm getting cocky. Like, I'd only been recording for like an hour and a half at a time, and I'm thinking I could beat this game in that time. I'm speed running it. I get into the fortress and I realize that the blazes can fight each other in this game, which I thought was kind of weird. Things get a little spicy a few times, but I do manage to get out with all of the blaze rods that I need. Now, all I need are some ender pearls, and then I go and fight the dragon, beat the game pretty quickly, and prove to everyone that I am a gamer. What I didn't realize is that finding pearls in this version is damn near impossible. Endermen only spawn at night and very rarely. There's no special biomes where they can spawn more often, and the villagers are horrible in this version. What I ended up doing is spending 2 entire hours running around at night looking for Endermen and then mining during the day. I found out that boats are horrible in this version. They break when you hit the land. I tamed 2 dogs, which I decided I was going to take to the end to take down the dragon. So I have enough eyes to figure out how to make it to the end, so myself and my 2 dogs head out to take down the dragon. Then, after 3 hours and 55 minutes, I finally got enough pearls. I was getting cocky at 45 minutes in. I go up to the portal, I put that final Eye of Ender in, it opens the portal, and I push my 2 dogs in and enter to kill the dragon. Then the dragon immediately kills both my dogs, knocks me into the void, and I die. I wasted 4 hours, but who cares? Minecraft's the best game ever made. S tier. Fallout is a game with nukes and robots. This game had absolutely an incredible intro. I'm sure this doesn't shock you anymore, but I've never played a Fallout game either, so it was awesome to go in and immediately have a game hook you. There's a retro charm to this game. I start playing out what I assume is the backstory that helps me figure out the controls. I create my character and complete the tutorial that is completely baked into the game. There's a really funny robot in my house that I like that helps out with the kid, and then boom! A nuke hits my tiny little town and all hell breaks loose. We sprint to a bunker that is prepared for some people just in case of nuclear war, and myself, my child, and my wife make it in. We get put in separate sleep chambers, and then as I'm dozing off, I see someone come in, open my wife's chamber, and shoot her, and then steal the baby. When I wake up, the entire bunker is abandoned. As I work my way through the abandoned bunker, I learn the combat controls and then eventually get outside. I go to where my home once was, and my funny robot is still active. And he also tells me it's been 200 years since he's seen me last. It took me a while to realize that this game is basically Skyrim with guns and a different art style. I really enjoyed myself playing this game. I got a pet dog, I made some friends, and then I killed a gigantic alien in a super suit. It was epic. I had a blast. I will definitely be playing Fallout again in the future. So, A tier. The Division is a game about uniting together. I didn't realize how many games take place in real places. Vice City in Miami, GTA 5 in Santa Monica, Pitfall 2 in your mama's house, and now we have a game that takes place in war-torn New York City. This game is for sure meant to be played like co-op style with your friends, but I was solo for the last 30 years of games, and I wasn't about to switch that up now. The introduction is really cool, and it really sets up a great premise for the game. It had an awesome intro sequence, explosions, high intensity, and a really cool title screen overlooking a rough-looking New York. I was actually really hyped playing this game. A typical progression-based co-op experience. There's many missions, you upgrade your gear, you get your weaponry, and you complete tasks in order to progress through the story. It felt like a third-person Borderlands, but in America. I landed, I immediately upgraded my gear, and I set out to do some missions that would eventually help me rebuild a base of operations with the goal of taking back the city. I actually got lost in time playing this game. I'm normally not a third-person shooter kind of guy, but I didn't even notice it this time around. I finally got the base set up, and I realized I had been playing the game for around 2 hours. I had a really good time playing solo, so I can only imagine what it's like playing with a group of friends. We're gonna put it at B tier. Destiny is a game about a friendly ghost. I've had a few moments of playing Destiny in my time, but I've forgotten pretty much all of it. I played about a week straight of Destiny 1, and for some reason, all I can really remember is jumping on a tree in the tower and spawn trapping some mobs in a cave. So I loaded up this game, and for some reason I was on Mars, so it must have been some lore that I had forgotten about. The intro does a really good job of catching you up, and Basically, you're a dope soldier with a pet robot. Light is good, dark is bad. The tutorial is pretty damn seamless, and I had honestly forgotten how satisfying the gunplay is. The music is gorgeous. I mean, it's just typical Bungie. The voice acting is unbelievable, and the world scale is incredible, even at the beginning of the game. I did a public event, I fought a witch, and then I saved a guy before I unlocked the tower. In a parallel universe, I never play Call of Duty, and I only play Destiny. I mean, I truly think this game is somehow still underrated. We're gonna go with A tier. Red Dead Redemption is a game about gangster cowboys. Now, obviously, I've heard of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I've heard from many people that it might be the best game ever made. So my expectations going into this were really high. Probably a little too high. I load up the game to find out that I'm a snow cowboy, migrating myself and my people to safety. We are running away from assumingly another gang of cowboys that are also very cold. I went to find shelter and end up shooting some dudes and setting a house on fire. Typical cowboy gang shit. I saved a woman from the house, and then later I saved a dude that was stuck on a mountain. On the way back from the mountain, I took care of some wolves that were trying to hunt me down. I found out that our cowboy gang hates another cowboy gang, and we head to a small town to hit a lick on them. After a shootout, I chase after a runner, lasso a dude, and bring him back. I mean, the game did feel like a movie, I will say that. It was beautiful, and the graphics were incredible, the cutscenes were great, but unfortunately, the gameplay was just slow. It was slow. It was very slow. Maybe I'm playing a comparison game, but a lot of these titles hook you immediately with the explosions and the fast-paced gameplay. In this game, you just kind of trot on a horse for a bit and do some tasks. At least that's how the game starts. Now, I know there are hundreds of hours after this, and I'm sure the story's incredible and the graphics are great, and there might be even twists and turns to the story that shock you, but it just didn't hook me. Yeehaw. B tier. Borderlands is a game with a really cool art style. Boom! Right into the game. I'm a vault hunter. I'm on planet Pandora. Bam! The intro cinematic is really hype, and it's just fun. I choose a character called Zane and join the Crimson Raiders. I meet Claptrap the robot, customize my character, and beat Shiv, the intro tutorial boss. I meet Lilith, and then I meet Vaughn upside down in his underwear, and after meeting another character named Ellie, I realize how incredible the character introductions were, as well as the voice acting. The game is funny, and it's incredibly smooth, and of course, it looks great. Much like Destiny and The Division, this game is for sure meant to be played as a squad. But that didn't make the solo experience bad by any means. The looting is so satisfying. The gunfights are a little unique, especially with how you have to reload, but it's not terrible. Like, it's not Sea of Thieves bad, but it's not my favorite. I fight a dead mouse ass boss. I went to get a map, had to grab some fuel, and then got on a big ship to leave the planet. While in the ship, I meet my crewmates, and wow, we have some very talented crewmates. This game is awesome. Double D, B tier. We'll go with B tier. Animal Crossing is a game where you have a landlord. So Call of Duty was my pandemic game, but this game was a lot of people's pandemic game. And I had never played it before, so let's give it a chance. I decided it was time to move to a deserted island. Somehow they convince you that's a good thing and it's not absolutely terrifying, but here goes nothing. I made my character and then I go to an island with two other neighbors named Sprocket and Sherry. We had a little powwow and then I get a chance to name the island. I mean, it's a good name. I explored a bit while I tried to figure out where I was going to move in. I decided to move next to Sprocket. I thought we were gonna be boys. I go to bed and that night Stevie Ray Dog comes to me in my dreams and tells me that it's very important to make friends. I caught a few fish, I built a net, I got stung by some wasps. I tried to talk to Sprocket, but he ignored me because he was so bad at fishing. Turns out Sprocket really wasn't my guy, and I really rocked with Sherry, and she made me some medicine that cured my wasp stings. I learned that I could sell my stuff, so I sold damn near all of my fish and a ton of my items so that I could buy a hammock to sleep in. And I mean, that is just such a vibe. My fiance absolutely loves this game, and I can see why. It's such a simple game, but it is so fun. It's the kind of game that I can see any person of any age playing and having a blast. I'll put it at A tier. Pokemon is a remastered game where you kidnap animals and make them fight. Like I said before, I love Pokemon, but the new games are so easy, it like almost hurts. I could never really get into them. What do you mean if you catch a Pokemon, the XP of your full team goes up? Like, what does that even mean? What are you saying to me? I spawn in, I get caught snooping a briefcase with my friend Tom Nook, and I steal a Piplup. The professor eventually says it's cool, so I named him Charles. Turns out I wanted to be a Pokemon master, so I set out on a journey. I caught a Bidoof, named him Jeffrey, a Cricketot named Ted, and a Shinx named Jack. I talked to some clowns, I beat up Tom Nook, and then caught a Bidoof that I named John. When I get to the first gym, there was nobody there, so then I head down into the mines and catch a Zubat that I named HH. I find the gym leader in the mines, and I beat her for the first badge. I mean, the game's fun, it's Pokemon, but it's a very common complaint that the games are so easy that it's borderline boring, so C tier. Elden Ring is a game about a complicated family. Now, I've played Elden Ring, but never solo. I basically cheesed my way through the game with my two best friends. We used mimics and magic, and we triple teamed every boss. So in order to be an actual gamer, I decided it was time to play this at level 1 and try to beat the first boss by myself. It will have been my first ever Souls boss that I've beaten solo. I choose a class, and it's basically a kitchen knife, so that was a mistake. I attempted the tree sentinel a few times and eventually just got frustrated, so I moved on. Finally, I made it to Margit, and then the pain begun. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if I thought it was going to be easy, but I ended up attempting Margit for 2 hours. I had to get the recording done, and I was too far gone and too stubborn to try to get other items or start over. I just kept going. It took a while, but my eventual strategy was just slice him up constantly to build up some bleed. I mean, the dude would not stagger at all. But the beauty of Elden Ring is that it's not a game. It's an experience. You don't fight the boss. You dance with them. The story is linear, but the game is endless. It's beautiful. It's perfection bundled up into a $60 package. It was just me, my clothes, and a kitchen knife. And sometimes that's all you need. Bitch! I'm a legend. S tier. Hogwarts Legacy is a game about a kid at Hogwarts not named Potter. I created my character and I find out that I'm a genius kid that is entering Hogwarts as a 5th year student. I hop into a magic carriage and immediately get attacked by a whole ass dragon 30,000 feet in the air. I disappear, and then I find myself in a bank. At one point, I genuinely forgot that I was playing a video game. Like, I was holding the controller, but as soon as it was time for me to move, I was like, oh shit, I forgot I'm playing. The tutorial is genuinely flawless. I might even go out on a limb and say it's the smoothest and most well-integrated tutorial in history. I was deep in a bank fighting what I assume is the main antagonist, and then all of a sudden, I'm in the woods outside of Hogwarts. It was such a cool feeling seeing my character walk up to Hogwarts, especially being such a fan of this universe before playing. I got sorted into Hufflepuff, completed my first lesson in Defense Against the Dark Arts, and then my second lesson in Charms. I'm extremely impressed of how fun they made literally being at school and going to class feel. It never felt slow or mundane at all. I then traveled to Hogsmeade, and even just walking to that town felt wild. It was wild seeing all these places that you had either read about or seen in films before and actually being able to maneuver around yourself. The only other time I actually felt that way was the first time that I went to Diagon Alley at Universal. Like, I felt so immersed, and I felt the same way playing this game. When I get to Hogsmeade, I head down to Ollivander's, pick out my own wand, and that was also just an incredible experience. This game shocked me. Obviously I had heard about the game and I'd been a fan of Potter films, but I had heard the game was like very long. But at this point, it is so good that I have to play it again. And I can't wait to play it again. So I'm going to put it in S tier. 2024 was the year of the Patriot. What is more exciting than saving the world? What is better for your country than beating the most hated team in the land? That is the question that 2024 aimed to answer. On one hand, Super Earth is being threatened by a myriad of armies. There's a hilarious introduction, and it really helps set the vibe of what Helldivers is all about. And on the other hand, for the first time in a decade, I can finally match up against the most evil organization in the world, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team. And who better to go against them than the literal army? I get into a match with a bunch of bugs and do my damn best to take them down. The music in Helldivers is incredible. It makes you feel something as you're diving towards the war. And speaking of great music in the middle of battle, College Football 25 has an intro theme that really just gets you going. I square up with Notre Dame in the national championship game. The one thing all college football fans can't allow to happen is have Notre Dame win the big game. So it's up to me, once again, to save the world. If there's one thing that the Army does, is they fight. The Fighting Irish do not let up as they move ahead by 11, but one thing about America is that we never give up. Much like humanity will never give up on Super Earth. I drop into another operation, this time with my captain, Mission Z1. Guided me through the world as we killed a lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. Side note, it was his birthday and he was such a good captain. Almost as good as the captain as Bryson Daly, starting quarterback of the Army Black Knights. After a hard-fought battle, Army leads 44-37 at the end of the game, but aren't able to hold on. Notre Dame, using their cheating tactics and fraudulent referees, they tie up the game at 44. And also, in the final moments, they line up for a kick that would end the battle right there. But then something amazing happens. Oh my God, he missed it. Oh my God. Mission Z1 drops a mech for me to run around in. I hop in a gigantic robot killing machine and I really start kicking some ass. Now it's time to exfil. Time to take all of the hard work that we've put in and make sure to win in overtime. We start with a touchdown, but we are countered with another touchdown. We call in the dropship, which is immediately challenged by a group of evil bugs, but Mission Z1 is setting up the perfect trap. Much like the power option trap that has constantly been trapping the Notre Dame defense in the 2024 National Championship game. The evil Irish start round 2 of overtime with a touchdown, but are stopped heroically at the line for the 2-point conversion. Turret set up, mech destroyed, and running through the scorched mountain ranges of the extraction site, there's nothing more patriotic than running. Running the power option into the end zone to tie the game up with one more objective standing in between my team and victory. The Pelican 1 slowly descends onto the extraction zone as Bryson Daly drops the perfect lateral into the hands of the running back as he walks into the end zone. 2 armies, 2 victories, 2 worlds saved from evil destruction. B tier for both. So there it is, 40 years of games. I'm officially a gamer. Thank you for watching.